Hey creative friends, welcome to my channel and welcome to Canuary 2024. I am so excited about this year. It is going to be awesome and it starts with Canuary. Like that's the best. But what I wanted to do is I've got a short little intro video that I'm doing here for my videos because I want to make sure that all my information is correct and I don't miss anything or leave anything out that's really important. So I've got my notes. So first of all, I want to say thank you to Lisa over at SuttonsDaze for asking me to participate again this year. This is one of my favorite collaborations. I think it sets a great way to start the year. And I do love it because I feel like there's a lot of New Year's resolutions and things going on. And I also think that Canuary is a great jumping off point for people who want to learn to can. So I think it's awesome. So I'm excited about participating in it. Now this is a collaboration that was created by Lisa over at SuttonsDaze a while ago, and we've been doing it and it's just so much fun. So in the description of this video, look down there, there is going to be all of the names and the dates and the links to the channels of the creators that are participating. Now what you need to do is be sure you go over to their videos, and when you watch their videos you need to make sure that you make a comment. So, and not just an emoji or the word hi, you know, that kind of thing, a real conversational comment, because those comments are going to be gathered up, and at the end of January on the 31st at 7 p.m. Eastern time, Lisa is going to do a drawing. Now the drawing is super cool because Lisa has talked to 4Jars, you know, the awesome company that makes amazing 4Jars lids. We really appreciate the fact that they came out with lids when lids were so hard to get. Anyway, so there's going to be 4Jars is providing some of the grand finale prizes as well as Lisa. So let me just tell you, 4Jars has also come out with an awesome pressure canner. So they're going to be donating one of those pressure canners to give out to, and then there's going to be another drawing for 200 lids, and then there's going to be another drawing for, they've got the cutest little timer. It looks like it's so cute. Anyway, a timer and towels. So there's those prizes from 4Jars. But then Lisa is also going to be giving away one of those amazing canners as well as a steam canner. So you want to be in there for all of those drawings. So you want to make sure you watch all the videos and make sure you leave a good comment, okay? That way on the 31st, you can just sit back and listen to the drum roll and maybe you'll be a winner. So that's super cool. And then the other important thing I want to say is that Canuary is very, very popular. There are a lot of creators out there who will tag on to the word and the name Canuary. It's not like licensed or anything, but they will be creating their own thing. But if it's not got in the thumbnail of each video will be a little green box and it's got a little picture and it says Canuary. That thumbnail needs to be, that little thing needs to be on the thumbnails of the videos for the participants that are in this Canuary. So if you think going and watching anything that has Canuary and putting comments is going to help you with the grand finale prize, unless it has the little green logo in the thumbnail, it is not part of this Canuary where these prizes will be given out. Now, I'm excited about this, and I've got 3 videos coming up, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this little video at the beginning of each of those videos so that you get the right information in case you had to go back and look. And as always, let's get started. For this recipe, again, I am using one of my favorite books for approved recipes, the all-new book of Canning and Preserving. I like this one because it has interesting and different recipes, ones you don't find in standard books. Also, it has smaller batches, so it's just me and Brian. I don't need big batches anymore, so this is the way I'm going to go for this Canuary. Now, the recipe that I'm going to make now is on page 59, and it is the low sugar apple chili jam. The reason I'm interested in this is because I want to make more jams that have to do more with cooking than just, you know, toast jam to go on toast or whatever. And I think this would be really, really good with wings or chicken tenders, or even just as a dip for maybe chicken nuggets or pork chops. So I think it's going to be good. So let me go through the ingredients. Oh, and before I forget, one of the ingredients is lemon juice. And I want to tell you, seasoned canners probably already know this, but I'm going to talk about this because I feel like Canuary is a jumping off point for a lot of people who want to learn to can. And so I think it's important to go over some things that seasoned canners may already know, but this is important. Lemon juice. When a recipe calls for lemon juice in canning, they're referring to bottled lemon juice. If they say fresh lemon juice, like in a salsa or something, then they're calling for a fresh lemon juice for flavor. The difference is bottled lemon juice is made so that basically, in a nutshell, they take all of these lemons and they juice them, and then they test the acidity level, and they either add more lemons or they add water to bring it to a certain acidity level, which is actually higher than vinegar. Your white vinegar is at 5%. You need to always use 5% vinegar in your canning recipes. But lemon juice is a little bit more acidic. So if you're making something like tomatoes or salsa that call for vinegar, and you don't like the flavor, or you feel there's some people that feel they can taste the vinegar, you can actually use lemon or lime juice and substitute for the vinegar in place of the vinegar, so that you don't get that vinegar taste. But you cannot use vinegar in place of lemon juice, because if it calls for lemon juice, it wants the more acidic level than what's in the vinegar. If it calls for lemon juice, it's going to be more acidic than if it's called for vinegar. I hope that makes sense to you. And if you know it, you know it. But if you don't and you learn something, I'm glad I could help. Okay, so the low sugar apple chili jam. I'm going to need 2 large apples. And these I'm going to peel and grate. So once those are ready, I'll come back and show you those. And then it wants 3 tablespoons of bottled lemon juice. And in this book, I noticed they say bottled lemon juice more, because they do have a whole section on salsa where they call for regular, just fresh squeezed lemon juice. And so that was interesting to me. 4 cups of apple juice, and this is apple juice from my pantry that I canned myself. And then 3 tablespoons of the low or no sugar pectin, a tablespoon of the crushed, you can have the crushed chilies or dried crushed red peppers, and that's what I'm using. And then a 1/2 cup of sugar and a 1/2 cup of honey. So you see the difference is most things that you're making that aren't low sugar will use like 3 or 4 cups of sugar. So this is a low sugar recipe, so it's going to use some honey and some sugar. And so that's what we need to get started. Those are the ingredients. And what it tells me to do is, once I have these grated, I'm going to combine the apples, the lemon juice in a 4-quart pot, and I'm going to cook and stir stir for 10 minutes so that the apples become tender. When that happens, I'm going to stir in the apple juice and the pectin and the chilies, and I'm going to bring the mixture to a rolling boil that cannot be stirred down. And then that's over high heat, and then I'm going to add the sugar, the honey, and I'm going to stir that to dissolve it. And then I'm going to return it to a full boil, and then boil hard for a minute. And then the pectin is going to go in there right with the sugar. Oh, the apple juice, the pectin, and the crushed chili will all go in. So let me get these peeled and grated, and I will come back. I've got the apples peeled and grated, and they're in my pot. And now I'm going to add the lemon juice, because the instructions are combine the grated apple and lemon juice. And then we're going to cook it, stirring constantly 10 minutes until the apples is tender. So I'm going to take this over to the stove, and I'm going to give it about 10 minutes. When that's tender, we'll come back. All right, while that is on the stove and it's cooking the apples and the lemon juice, I want to show you what I did here. This is the way I do these things, so it helps. When you have a recipe that has a bunch of ingredients and it's different steps, a good idea is to group your ingredients by the steps. So currently I've got the lemon juice and the grated apple cooking, and the next thing is to add the apple juice, the pectin, and the chilies. So I'm setting those together, and then I'm going to do that step. And then after that step is done, the final one is to add the sugar and the honey. So I have those separated, and I've done this when I was helping Brian. He was canning some things. I taught him to do this too, because it just kind of helps that you won't forget something and that you don't do something in the wrong order. So that's what I've got going on, and as soon as the apple and lemon juice is, the apple's tender, I'll come back. Okay, this is nice and tender now, and so I'm going to add in the apple juice, pectin, and the peppers. So this apple juice is so good. I have to tell you guys, it is so good, because I canned it myself, of course, and I'm going to do this slowly so I'm not adding, because it's a glass pot, I don't want to add a whole bunch of cold to it. So we're going to add that to it. There we go. So we're going to add the apple juice and the pectin and the peppers, and then we're going to bring it to a rolling boil that cannot be stirred down. And then, after that, then we're going to add the sugar and the honey to it. So get these peppers. This is going to be so good with like pork chops, I'm telling you. Okay, so there's the pectin. Now I'm going to take this back over to the stove, bring it up to a rolling boil that cannot be stirred down, and then I'll come right back and we'll add the honey and the sugar. Okay guys, you can see it is boiling, and when it was on the stove I can't stir the boil down. That means it continues to boil even when I'm stirring it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in the honey and the sugar. I'm going to take it back over to the stove and bring it to a full boil again, and then let it boil hard for a solid minute, and then it will be ready to jar up. So now I'm going to get back over on the stove, and I'm going to bring it back up to a boil. And I want to tell you, when you're put the pectin in, when you first start, it'll have kind of a hazy look, and then it'll eventually kind of get more of a translucent, kind of an amber look to it, and that's what needs to happen. So now what I'm going to do, I've got the honey and the sugar mixed in well. I'm going to go back over the stove. I'm going to get this up to a full, solid, hard boil, and then I'll let it go for a minute, and then I'll be right back. All right, we are done on the stove, and you can see this is still boiling pretty hard, so it's so good. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and jar it up. And I want to tell you, this smells so good, and I think it's going to be wonderful, and it'll be so good on pork chops and things like that. But I wanted to tell you, if you thought, oh, this is so good, I think I want to have more than one batch, because this has pectin, you don't want to double a batch. You never want to increase or multiply a batch of jam or jelly or anything that's got pectin, because, oh, sorry, you can't see that, can you? Let me come back. I'll do another jar for you. Hold on, let me get that. Hold on. That's a little bit better. Anyway, this is going to be 1/4 inch. I think I'm going to need a little bit more. Yep, I'll need a little more. Anyway, you don't want to double or multiply a batch of anything that has pectin, because the pectin won't work if you do that. So if you're going to want to make more than one batch of something that has pectin, just make different batches. Make like the 2 or 3 batches. Now I'm going to debubble. Should have wiped the rim after I debubble. It gets the bubbles out from around the food particles, because what will happen in the processing is the food particles will release bubbles that will come up to the top, and then they will fill in that space between the food and the jar lid, which will then change the headspace. So I've got this on because this is hot. Oh, that's not too bad. Okay, I can get it. Okay, now I'm going to put this on. Fingertip tight. There we go, where it just beats resistance, and then you come back a little bit. There we go. And there is one jar, and you can see all the little bits of pepper and apple in there. But because you didn't get to see that, I will do another one for you. Hang tight. Let me put this in here. Get another jar. Okay. And now we'll get this one back up to fingertip tight. Was how we want to seal it, but we're going to get it up to a 1/2 inch headspace. And there we go. Pretty good. And low sugar pectins, I hear people sometimes say that low sugar pectins don't seem to set up as much as, I forget to debubble before I wipe the rim. They don't set up as firm. And if that's the case, then you're just going to use this as a glaze and not a jam or a jelly. Okay? That's it. Any of this stuff that you make, you can always find a different use for it. Get off there. These awesome 4 Jars lids. And 4 Jars is a terrific sponsor of our Canuary. They're awesome. So, there you go. There's another jar. So now I'm going to go ahead and finish the whole batch, and then I will be back. Okay, I wanted to show you guys something here. So this is in my Ball Fresh Tech electric boil water canner, And what I wanted to show you here is that I have several batches of things in here. I made 3 different recipes, and so they're all in here together. And I wanted to point out, so if you don't want your jars to bounce in the boiling water and fall over and stuff, so I've used a squatty pint, which is a nice wide base. I could have put a quart jar in there or something, but it's about the same height as the regular canning of the jelly-sized jar. And so I've got that in there to kind of hold things in their place better. And also I wanted to point out, yes, I do have different recipes in here, but they are like recipes. They're all savory or spicy, like they're all like a salsa, or the hot mango, or the apple chili, or the herb tomato jam. So they're all similar, and that's okay. I certainly wouldn't put the tomato herb jam in there with like a strawberry or a lemon curd or something like that. So you want to make sure that if you're going to combine recipes in your processing, that you want to make sure they're similar recipes. Okay, so those are all going to process, and as soon as they're done, we'll come back and take a look. All right, they're done, and they look so good. Oh, I can't wait to try these. Now, my concern is, because this is a low sugar one, sometimes those don't set up as much as you might like them to, but even if you can something like this and it doesn't even set up at all, if it's still almost like very runny, you could always use it as a marinade too. So don't ever think that something's a failure just because it may not have set up right. There are plenty of other ways to use things. So I can't wait to try this out, and I will use these in a recipe for you guys to see how I used it. So there you have it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.